Watch how one of Parliament's most controversial immigration debates unfolds as Rupert Lowe presents a sweeping plan for mass deportations, arguing that Britain's immigration system needs fundamental reform. The debate raises difficult questions about borders, public services, national security, and the future direction of UK immigration policy. Before we continue, hit like and subscribe to Britain Daily for more explosive political coverage. Let's watch this explosive clip.
Thank you, Mr. Twigg. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. Firstly, I want to thank the 720,772 British men and women who signed our petition demanding the mass deportation of illegal migrants. A policy position that has moved from the so-called mad fringe to the acceptable mainstream in less than 2 years. But the question is no longer whether Britain has a problem. We know the problem. It's been well documented. Now we need solutions. Restore Britain is the first and only political party to publish a comprehensive plan, not just to stop future illegal immigration, but to remove those who have no legal right to remain in this country. All of them, every man, woman and child. They must all be deported, and a Restore Britain government will do exactly that. I'm not going to stand here and outline the problem. We all know what's wrong. I'm going to tell this Parliament exactly how we can remove millions of illegal migrants. As we have seen time and time again, deportation is routinely frustrated by a carefully designed maze of legislation, international treaties and legal challenges. A Restore Britain government will repeal or amend the domestic legislation that prevents swift deportation, repeal the Human Rights Act, withdraw from the European Convention on Human Rights, and remove the Refugee Convention from domestic immigration law. It would also introduce what we call the Great Clarification Act, reaffirming that we in Parliament, in these buildings, have the final say over immigration policy, allowing Parliament to overturn court rulings that obstruct the democratic will on immigration. Not activist judges, but elected politicians, held to account by the British electorate. But legal reform is just the start. That simply sets the scene for the most ambitious set of deportations ever seen. The real question is this: how can we remove all of those with no legal right to be in Britain? The answer is by making illegal residence impossible to sustain, as we call it, the hostile environment. No legal employment, no legal tenancy, no access to public services, no banking facilities. That single reform becomes the backbone of our immigration enforcement. Make life so incredibly uncomfortable and unsustainable that many will simply deport themselves. Employers must face real-time right-to-work checks. The gig economy, construction, hospitality and other sectors with persistent illegal working would face regular audits. If Uber Eats, Deliveroo and the rest are found to be employing illegal migrants, they will be fined, prosecuted and even shut down. The farce of young Sudanese illegal migrant men delivering spring rolls and pepperoni pizzas on mopeds in every British suburb will end. Government itself must lead by example. Every company bidding for public contracts would have to demonstrate strict compliance with immigration law before receiving any taxpayers' money. ESG, but for mass deportations. Housing enforcement would change completely. Every landlord would be required to carry out right-to-rent checks at the beginning of every tenancy. Those who knowingly rent properties to illegal migrants would face severe financial penalties, and persistent offenders could face asset seizure and prosecution. HMO owners who impose gangs of feral illegal men on quiet British villages will be prosecuted. Public officials who knowingly place dangerous and unvetted migrants near schools and nurseries will be sent to prison. Homelessness legislation must also be amended so that illegal migrants are no longer recycled through local authority housing systems, but instead enter the immigration enforcement process. We will not house illegal migrant tramps, we will deport them. It's really that simple. Healthcare would no longer operate as a loophole. So-called safe surgeries must end. Proof of lawful status must become a requirement for routine NHS access. Illegal migrants in hospitals will, as they should now be, reported to immigration enforcement. We are not evil. Emergency care will be provided, but they will be then deported as soon as it's medically safe to do so. Across government departments, the departments will finally begin sharing data. The Home Office, HMRC, the NHS, local councils, the DWP, banks. Instead of operating in silos, government will work as one system to identify those with no legal right to remain. The full power of the British state will be directed to implement this one policy, mass deportation. Financial enforcement would become another powerful tool. Banks would verify immigration status before accounts are opened. Existing accounts without lawful status will be frozen or closed. The hostile environment measures will force out hundreds of thousands. A concurrent programme of enforced deportations will be implemented alongside this to remove the rest. Restore Britain proposes a major expansion of immigration enforcement, recruiting thousands of additional officers, drawing on former police officers, military veterans, and experienced investigators. A specified recruitment campaign for military veterans will be implemented, drawing former soldiers into field enforcement roles. Detention capacity would be expanded dramatically, including the use of purpose-built detention facilities capable of holding thousands awaiting removal. Commercial airlines will continue to be used where appropriate. Dedicated charter flights would become routine. Military transport aircraft would also be available where operation is necessary. Time will not be wasted. I will give way.
I'd just like to understand this point about detention centres and how many places would be required and over what period. And given the fact that the last government didn't manage to build except one new prison in 14 years, how the Honourable Gentleman thinks this is even feasible.
Thank you. Well, thank you for your intervention. I'm not going to go into detail. It's all in this document. I'll give you one to take away with you. Time will not be wasted. Specialist detention facilities will be constructed near airfields to hasten the process. Britain will negotiate far stronger bilateral return agreements while working with allies to create a deportation NATO, a coalition of like-minded countries applying coordinated diplomatic and economic pressure on governments that refuse to accept back their own citizens. Harmonised visa sanctions, coordinated suspension of visa issuance, foreign aid suspension, targeted trade measures and tariffs, remittance and dividend controls and taxation, rapid response returns task force. Pakistan would be the first country to feel the full force of these measures. Sanctions from a single country are easier to absorb, but a unified bloc of economies and travel markets creates systematic and severe pressure. Coordinated restrictions would also close loopholes, whereby nationals bypass one state's measures by moving to another jurisdiction, all delivered alongside the credible and proven threat of action. Do it once hard enough, and it wouldn't be required again. We must also revoke all asylum grants awarded following illegal entry and retrospectively revoke protection so that those individuals are also removed. If you arrive in Britain illegally on a small boat, you will be deported, regardless of what your current status may claim. People ask whether this is achievable. Restore Britain says yes, but only if government finally demonstrates the robust political will required. What about cost? Britain is already paying billions every year on accommodation, billions on asylum, billions on public services for illegal migrants, billions supporting people who have no legal entitlement to remain here. In the short term, ending those long-term costs will offset the expenditure required to carry out removals with estimated annual savings of more than £12 billion once the programme is complete. Put simply, mass deportation pays for itself. It's popular, it's cost-effective, and it's possible. I have just one question for my fellow MPs. What are we all waiting for? This is a costed, comprehensive, and legally sound plan that will, as those 720,772 British patriots demand, remove the illegal migrant population. We have outlined exactly what needs to happen in excruciating detail. It can be done, it must be done, it will be done. On your way out, please help yourselves to a mass deportation policy document. It makes glorious reading. Thank you.
Today's Westminster Hall debate showcased one of the strongest parliamentary arguments yet over illegal immigration and border enforcement. Rupert Lowe outlined Restore Britain's proposals for large-scale deportations of people without legal permission to remain in the UK. His speech called for changes to legislation, expanded immigration enforcement, stronger border controls, wider data sharing between public bodies, and new international agreements aimed at increasing removals. He argued these measures would reduce long-term public costs and restore confidence in the immigration system. During the debate, MPs also questioned how practical some of these proposals would be, including the scale of detention facilities, implementation, and the resources required to carry out such a programme. For people across Britain, immigration remains one of the country's most debated and emotionally charged issues. Many families want secure borders, fair immigration rules, and confidence that laws are enforced consistently. Others also raise questions about practicality, legality, costs, and Britain's international obligations. These are complex issues that Parliament continues to debate from different perspectives. Whatever your opinion, today's debate demonstrates just how significant immigration policy has become in shaping Britain's political future. The decisions made in Westminster have consequences that many believe affect communities, public services, the economy, and national confidence. What do you think? Did Rupert Lowe present a convincing case for major immigration reform, or do you believe different solutions are needed? Share your views respectfully in the comments below. And if you enjoy balanced coverage of Westminster's biggest debates, please like this video, subscribe to Britain Daily, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest House of Commons debates, PMQs, and breaking political news from Parliament.